What up, gang? Carolina Jackpot time coming at you. It is Sunday afternoon. I hope everybody's doing well. It's a warm one here today in the upstate of South Carolina. And I'm out moving some chips around from our main warehouse to a storage unit that I've got. So I'll be with you here for a little bit. I want to talk about yesterday's game between South Carolina and Oklahoma, and then some other matchups and some stuff I saw that was interesting yesterday, world of college football. But before we get into that, if you're new around here, give some consideration to staying true around here. Subscribe to this channel. I'm sure you will enjoy the content that we do here. College football stuff all year long. Did a live stream yesterday for the South Carolina versus Oklahoma game, and appreciate everybody who came and showed up for the live stream. Had a pretty good time with it. Kind of disappointed in the number of folks that showed up for the live stream and watched. You know, normally we're at 200 people at least watching the stream at one time. I don't think we even hit that number yesterday. It was always in the 100s, and sometimes it dipped below that. Yeah, that's going to happen when South Carolina's actually winning a game and doing well. Unfortunately, that's just the way that it is. People like to see frustration. They like to see failure. They like to see me get, well, my jimmies ruffled, my panties in a wad, get mad, however you want to say it. But you didn't get to really see that yesterday too awful much, so, oh well, I'd rather win and y'all be unsatisfied than you be very satisfied and us drop a steaming turd burger. So, Gamecocks 35-9 over Oklahoma yesterday. It was, it was a very interesting game there, and in terms of, from a defensive perspective, just a dominant performance from South Carolina. They allowed under 300 yards total for Oklahoma, 3 turnovers right off the rip in the game. South Carolina is up 21-0 in the ball game before you can even really get in your seat. Nick Emenwari with a pick 6. Tonka Hemingway with a scoop and score on a fumble there. Another interception sets up the first touchdown of the game. So a lot of good things yesterday. In that game, South Carolina had 9 sacks by 9 different players. I mean, Oklahoma never really, seriously threatened anything. I mean, the game was never in doubt. Although, in my mind, it's never over until you get there about the 4th quarter and you can tell that there's no way that they can come back. I'm always, sitting on pins and needles, but in reality, there was no way that they were coming back in that game. They were just defeated in every way possible. So, great performance by the South Carolina defense. I can't say enough. Players like Jatius Deere from Belton, South Kakalaki, getting in there and making a play, getting a sack there. Bam Martin Scott coming up making sacks. Demetrius Knight coming making sacks. It's not the usual suspects yesterday. The love was spread around the entire defense, and I was 100% here for it. Now, that being said, Oklahoma's offense it's awful. Their quarterback situation is awful. Neither of these guys are any good. Brent Venables is in trouble. The Oklahoma fans are not happy with him. They are not happy with him. They think they should be one of these elite teams every year. And they think they should be in contention for the college football playoff. And given their history, maybe they should. But they've always, outside the years that they've actually won a national championship, they've always been kind of, what's the saying? Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. It's an outside looking in. They've been to the college football playoff several times. Got beat by Clemson several times there. Lost to Alabama in embarrassing fashion. So they're not, it's not like you're playing, football royalty yesterday, but it was a huge win on the road, but over a downtrodden Oklahoma team. That being said, South Carolina's got a lot of work to do. I don't know what the offensive side of the ball cannot be fixed at this point. It absolutely cannot be fixed. Not for this season anyway. Lenore Sellers yesterday, yet another. I mean, it was a ho-hum performance. I mean, it's average. 175 yards, I think, passing. Hell, Jackson Arnold had more passing yards than Sellers did. Hell, Oklahoma had more yards, period, than South Carolina did. They had more yards per play on rushing. They rushed for about 4 yards a carry. South Carolina Rocket Sounders rushed 15 times yesterday for 33 yards. That was just over 2 yards a carry. Just over 2 yards a carry. Okay, right. You say, well, Oklahoma got a good defense. No, they don't. They don't. Look, last week, what was his name? Quinn Wisner. This dude from Texas. He rushed for like 115 yards on 9 carries, like 9.1 yards a carry on Oklahoma's shitty run defense. And that's all y'all could muster against them. So, once again, and we know what the problem is, it's the offensive line. South Carolina gives up 6 sacks yesterday. Actually, 5. Lenore Sellers took 5 sacks yesterday. Davis Bevel, the third-string quarterback, actually took a sack. It's recorded as a sack, but that's where he kneeled down in the victory formation. It actually wasn't a sack, but that's the way it's going to show up on the stat line. It's kind of, I don't know. They need to do something about that. That's not really right to penalize those teams with sacks like that. But anyway, 5 sacks Lenore Sellers took yesterday. Passes getting batted down. I mean, what are we doing? I mean, at this point, it's just frustrating to watch, and it's tiring to talk about. It's tiring to keep beating the same old drum every freaking week. If Shane Beamer wins a couple more games this year, he makes it a bowl game, he's saved his job. I think right now at this point, if Shane Beamer only beats Wofford and finishes 5-7, I still think that he's saved his job. I mean, with a close call against Alabama, this dominating win against a terrible Oklahoma team has probably saved him for another season. If he doesn't make if he does not get rid of that offensive line staff and get somebody in here who is going to mold and teach these guys into a decent unit, then he doesn't give a fuck about his job. He doesn't care. And he can tell everybody that he loves South Carolina all he wants to. He can tell everybody how he loves these kids, yada, yada, yada. I don't believe it until you give them a chance to succeed. So Lonnie Teasley, Greg Atkins need to be dismissed from the program at the end of the season. I know you ain't going to do it now, but they need to be gone. Dowell Loggins needs to be gone. He's terrible. The play calls, once again, were dog shit. And some of that may be because you were up so big in this game that you didn't think that we needed to be, we didn't need to be creative on offense. We didn't need to try to do some things. We need to just run a wet fart game plan. No, I mean, you put your foot on their neck when you have them in that situation. I had a crazy bet yesterday that I threw $10 down for one team to score 40 points or more in this game. $10 would have returned me like 70. I was feeling pretty good about it at halftime, and then you score a whopping 3 points in the second half. Awful. It's awful. There's no excuse for it. Should have had 50 points on the board yesterday. And I was getting some pushback in that live stream yesterday from people. I mean, can't you just be happy? I mean, they're winning. I mean, God, I mean, what does it take to make you happy? I was happy that they were winning. I was elated that they were winning. When Nick Emmanwori returned that pick six for a touchdown, well, a pick six is a touchdown. When he had that pick six, I jumped up and I fell backwards and lost my balance on my couch, and I almost took out 2 little dogs. I almost squished a Shih Tzu and a pug. We almost had pug pancakes. I was happy. I was very excited. But still, in the grand scheme of things, I was disappointed in the offensive performance. And anybody who says different, they're either somebody who doesn't watch the entire game, they read box scores, or they're just a sunshine pumper that really doesn't know what they're watching in terms of college football. They just see scoring, and they think that it's all the same thing. It's not all the same thing. It's really not. South Carolina is a playoff team with a defense like that. They should be. They should be, but they're not. And they're not going to be, because they have an offense that cannot move the ball, will not move the ball. It's sickening to watch. The disservice has been done to these young folks by this offensive game plan. Just piss poor execution too. And the Lenora Sellers, he runs into Rocket Sanders on the exchange. Dudes, we are in week 7, 8, whatever we're in. First of all, you don't see anybody else doing that hardly, period. Let alone in week 7, 8. It was game 7, week 8. You don't see that. So, I mean, why are we seeing it from you guys? Running into each other? Oh, God. Oh, my goodness. If we don't get that fixed, we'll probably win one more game. If you can do somewhat serviceably better, you have potential to, if you can go out there and fix your damn offense in this bye week, fix your damn offense, fix your problems in this bye week, you could potentially win. I'm not going to say win out, but you could potentially win. How many games you got left? 5. You could win 4 of your final 5 games. I'm not going to say you're going to win all 5 of your can't talk. I'm not going to say you're going to win all 5 of them. That's just delusional, silly talk. That's not happening. But Texas A&M is a beatable team. We saw that yesterday. They didn't bring a great performance to Mississippi State. Mississippi State was tough, hung with them. They're a beatable team, especially at home. Missouri is definitely a beatable team. Definitely a beatable team. In fact, we go on the road to Vanderbilt on November the 9th, and it's still up in the air. Carolina Jackpot might be going to that game for the 2nd time in a row. I think that the game at home against Mizzou, is it the fall? I think it's the following week, or is it? Or is Wofford first? Anyway, the game at home against Mizzou to me at this point looks more winnable. Should be more winnable than the road game at Vanderbilt, and I would take that. If beating Missouri at home means you lose to Vanderbilt, then so be it. Let Vanderbilt have that one. I would rather beat Missouri at home. I want to get that monkey off the back and finally put that dingling Drinkowitz in his place. So you've got that. You got that. You got Clemson on the road. I'm not going to say that South Carolina is going to be favored in that game. I'm not going to say that we're going to go up there. Yeah, we're going to go up there and punch them in the mouth. We're going to kick their ass. They're a beatable team, in my opinion, because I don't care what you say about what they've been doing the past 6, 7 weeks, beating up on all these taffy teams. I still can't get what they did in week 1 against Georgia out of my head. I don't think they changed things up a whole lot. I don't think they changed anything a whole lot. I just think their schedule got markedly easier. And they know that. They know that. I mean, there's a whole lot of difference between playing UVA and playing Georgia. There's a lot of difference between Wake and Georgia. So, we'll see what happens with that. But it's a game that if you bring your A game, if you find some freaking offense and your defense plays like that, it's a game that you can win. But if you don't find any offense, you're not going to win it. And you're probably not going to beat anybody other than Wofford, because nobody else is going to look. Nobody else is going to self-implode the way that Oklahoma did start that game. That is like stuff that happens once every few. It reminded me of the way Texas A&M kind of self-imploded against Carolina to start the game in 2022. That just doesn't happen very often. And yes, you do have a good defense, and yes, they can wreak havoc and make explosives happen on the defensive side of the ball, but it's just not likely that you're going to be able to replicate that. You might be able to get some sacks here and there, but that coupled with the turnovers and all that, no. That's not all going to happen. Stars aren't going to line up for you that way in that regard. So, great performance on the defensive side of the ball. I'm so happy to go on the road and get a win that, you know, in the offseason, no one thought South Carolina would go on the road and beat Oklahoma. No one saw that happening. So, you know, great job by the team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Those coaches. If anybody gets a raise going into 2025, it needs to be Travion Robertson, Sterling Lucas, Torian Gray, Clayton White. Those are the people that need to have raises there. Not, yeah, on the offensive side of the ball, you got some work to do there. What happened with this wonderful running backs coach, this Blackwell guy we got that supposedly turned Quinshon Junkins into a superstar? What's the deal with him? I mean, these running backs haven't really been worth a shit this year. It's been terrible. But once again, it all falls back on the offensive line, and I'm done with those individuals. Anyway, moving on to talking some other games there. Clemson, pretty good victory against Virginia yesterday. Didn't cover the spread, which I told y'all I didn't think that they would. You know, see Dabo, he got mad there at the end. Virginia scored a touchdown pretty late in the game, and they cut it to 17 points or something, and Dabo has to go out there and score another one. And then fucking Virginia got mad, and they scored one so to end the game there. So, yeah, Clemson doesn't cover the spread, but they win the game easily against Virginia. So that gives me some hope that teams can actually they can move the ball against them a little bit. Cade Klubnik threw some passes that were, when I was watching it there in the first quarter, second quarter, he threw a pass to Phil Moffitt that ended up being a completion. It ended up looking like it was a really nice play there. But he almost got that thing picked off, and that kid had nothing but green grass in front of him. If he picked it up, Nick Emamori would have picked that off. So South Carolina's defense would pick that off. So Clemson, you need to level up a little bit, playing a little bit sloppy, in my opinion. Georgia, 30-15 victory against Texas. Look, I picked Georgia to cover the spread. I didn't do it in our contest, but I went back and I changed my mind. I just thought 5 points was too much. I thought this was going to be a field goal type game, and it turns out it wasn't. Georgia was just pretty much dominant in this game from start to finish. That did let Texas kind of get back in it a little bit. Credit to Kirby Smart, too. After the game was over with, in his post-game interview, I don't know if anybody saw it, but it's drawn a lot of heat. He told the ESPN girl that was interviewing him there, your entire network doubted us. We didn't doubt ourselves. And, you know, we had to battle everything. You know, we're on the road, and we had to battle the officials in this game, which he lost it there, what was that, in the third quarter, when Texas got an interception, and they returned it back the other way for a good chunk. I mean, they got into Georgia territory with it pretty deep, and then they called defensive holding on Texas, and so they wiped it out. And then their student section and fans start throwing trash on the field. Now, I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to chide these individuals for throwing shit on the field. There's no place for that. You shouldn't do that. But I'm not going to go into them too much, because South Carolina's people have done that before too. They threw water bottles at Clemson players back in 2017, like a whole rain shower of water bottles. And it wasn't because of a bad play, the referees making a bad call or anything like that. They were just throwing out of pregame just out of hatefulness because we don't like them. They were over there doing warm-ups, talking shit, and doing their usual shit to try to intimidate somebody, and locking arms and walking this way to the student section with their same old taffy ass bullshit, and it pissed everybody off. So they started throwing water bottles at them. Not that I'm saying that was right. They shouldn't have done that. You don't throw trash on the field, but you don't throw water bottles. You don't throw mustard bottles. You don't throw food wrappers. You don't throw batteries. You don't, you know, people throw batteries and stuff. Some of these wrestling podcasts I've listened to, these guys tell stories about like a D-cell battery whizzing by as a year when he's in the ring giving a promo. It's all going off on a tangent there, but that's dangerous as hell. Can you imagine if that smacked somebody in the temple coming from the upper deck in an arena? I'd kill them. Anyway, don't throw stuff on the field, but they threw a big temper tantrum, and in the moments that ensued there, while Steve Sarkisian's going over here, he's trying to get them to stop throwing shit on the field. You know, we got to do a timeout to clean it up and get everything settled back up. The referees go back and review the play, and they overturn it, and they give Texas the interception. First of all, I didn't even know that defensive plays were reviewable. I guess that they are. And I mean, I didn't know that you could just do that. You could just go randomly back and review something. But I guess in the moment they probably made the right call on the play, but in the situation they were in, it really made those referees look like a bunch of bitch-made bitches who were just pandering to these Texas people, throwing a temper tantrum, giving them their way, maybe because they felt threatened by them. I don't know. Really bad look for those SEC officials, though. They need to be under some scrutiny for that one. That was a poor choice of call there, in my opinion. But props to Kirby Smart for standing up and saying that, because the officiating has been awful in 2024. It really has. It's, you know, not just for my team, but for multiple teams out there. Alabama loses to Tennessee. What can you say? I mean, the Vols had only scored like 7 points through 44 minutes of play in that game. 46 minutes of play. Offense playing terrible once again, but somehow or another they find a way to stay resilient, and they get the victory there. I mean, congratulations, I guess. I mean, you know, good job by Tennessee. You know, so you got one up on South Carolina again, because you've beaten Alabama and we didn't beat them. You would not have beaten them in their house, just like we didn't beat them in their house either. So, I mean, congratulations. You got to give them credit, though. They stepped up, and that's their second win now over Tennessee, or over Alabama in Neyland Stadium in as many tries, after going a long time without a victory over Alabama, period. So, good job there by Tennessee to win that ball game. Did y'all hear that they tore this goalpost down again? What the fuck? I mean, what are we doing here? What are you idiots doing up there? Not the idiot Tennessee fans, because we know that y'all are dumb and you're going to do dumb shit like that. Yeah, they make collapsible goalposts, don't they? Why are y'all not investing in that? Just stupid. But they're not going to. And somebody said that, Rob Sanders said he has a picture, I haven't seen it though, of some woman with her clear bag, because all you can bring in these stadiums is a clear bag, with a clear bag full of sod off the field. They were tearing the fucking field. You were tearing up your fucking field? Really? You're supposed to take sod off of a home team's field when you're the visitor and you win a big game on the road, you idiots. You don't dig up your own field. The Tennessee man and the Tennessee woman, I mean, I don't know where these people are coming from. I don't know what they're thinking. I mean, that's just so stupid, so dumb. And it's not like, look, yes, it's a big win for y'all, I understand that. But this is not like you beat a vintage Alabama team. Come on. They lost to fucking Vanderbilt 2 weeks ago. They almost lost to the Gamecocks last week. They should have lost to the Gamecocks last week. I mean, come on. It's all right to beat your chest a little bit, but let's act like we've been there before and that we've won some games. Who else? Indiana. If this team's not ranked in the top 10 when the polls come out. The polls may have already come out. I don't know. They should riot. I mean, that's just sickening. If they're not, they win. What was it? 56-7, 58-7, something like that against Nebraska. I mean, huge win for Indiana there, which they were only 6-point favorites, and a lot of us doubted them. Hell, I even doubted them a little bit. I thought that Nebraska had all the goods to strike the upset in that game, and Indiana's unbeaten season would come to an end, and it didn't happen. They're an absolute hammer, and they just keep on beating teams and just beating them up. So congratulations there to Indiana. Should be a top 10 team when the polls come out. Probably won't be a top 10 team. I don't see anybody. They'd have to move up 6 spots to get that. So I don't see that happening. Michigan loses to Illinois. Illinois, another really good team. They play Oregon this coming week. That's in Eugene. That's going to be a big game for them. Going to be a real big game coming up. Who else? I don't know. There were some other. Mizzou comes back, beats Auburn. Was it 21-17? I think. Brady Cook comes back into the game after being hurt. They're down bad. I'm telling you, they are not. I know the off season, the over/under win total for Mizzou was 9.5, and it was heavily juiced to the under 9.5, which means, in layman's terms, that if you bet money like $100 on Missouri's win total to end up in the regular season being under 9.5, then you wouldn't get back more than $100. You'd get like $60 back. So Las Vegas felt pretty strongly about Missouri not being able to win 9 games in the regular season. It looks like they're on their way to doing that right now. Yeah, I mean, they do only have the 1 loss, but they've got some challenging games coming up. They're playing Alabama. I think that's coming up. I don't know. That might be this week. I'm not sure. But I don't see them beating Alabama. I don't see them beating the Gamecocks. Seriously. If we can get our shit together. And there's some other games they could drop there, too. They play Oklahoma at home, which is, I mean, that's going to be an easy win for Mizzou, too. But then again, maybe not. Who knows? Not by that point in time what's going to happen. So that kind of wraps things up. South Carolina 35, Oklahoma 9. That one's in the books. Oh, another thing I want to talk about real quick before I'm done with South Carolina and that damn game. Why in the second quarter, after we scored that touchdown late, Shane Beamer goes for 2, and Maurice Brown runs that 2-point conversion in off kind of a little gadget play, like it's just absolutely nothing. Y'all know why that pisses me off. Anyway, that's about all I got to say about that. I will see you guys later on. Live show tonight at 9 o'clock. Be there, be square. Appreciate y'all. Peace, and I'm out of here. Go Gamecocks.